Rangers, welcome to another video where we're going to be looking at the Time Patroller from the SH Figuarts range from the Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse game. And I have to say, the packaging looks amazing. We've got the Time Patroller here, we've got him in the window, we've got all his different hands, as well as his two Super Saiyan hairs and faces. I really like the, the Scouter. Then we've got Bandai, Tamashii Nation, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, the toy logo. Here is just nothing there. It says Time Patroller. Here we have like what you get on the back, especially if you've got the PlayStation version in the Japanese one, where you can get trunks and you can get a certain amount of things. Again, you kind of think it'd be universal, not just locked to Japan, but we've got loads of different pictures here. We've got the Time Patroller there. On that side, you've got his different poses and stuff. There you go, top. And then the bottom looks really cool. So let's open this bad boy and have a look inside. We start off with his hair, and I have to admit, I really like it. It really stands out, and I really like the red and the kind of the darker red, the shading, perfect. One thing that did annoy me is I've got here, like the blemish on his kind of like front part of his hair. It annoys me. It just annoys me. While we move down to his face, his eyes are kind of piercing and they stand out quite well. Again, reminds me a lot of Gohan. When here we've got his kind of his Scouter, I noticed that the paint is kind of going into it, and I think that kind of puts it off. I think that they should have really paid attention to the painting detail on his collar there. I don't like the fact there's another little blemish. I don't know why this one left the factory when it wasn't properly checked over, but with his sash here, or his like kind of cape, it looks kind of cool. It works really well, and it kind of like stands out with the figure. As we move down here, we can see that he's got a Trunks type of coat, and I really hope they've not just taken the Trunks figure from previous ones and just kind of done the body. It would annoy me if it did. I really like the pockets. They stand out. It looks like a jean material rather than just like a normal kind of plasticky feel for some strange reason. And then we've got his yellow shirt, which I really like the line here where you can obviously move him about a little bit. And then obviously you've got his red belt, which it just reminds me of Trunks. All of it just reminds me of Trunks. On his arms, we've got the joints that are kind of okay. I'm not a huge fan of them, as you know, but we've got the joints there. And then obviously on his belt, you can see just here that there's ruffles, which look kind of cool. As we move down here, we can see that this is kind of a lightish grey. I don't know if it comes out well different on camera. On my screen here, it looks like it's a really dark grey. But I really like the ruffles in his legs. I think they're really, really cool. And again, we've got his kind of boots, which again remind me a lot of Trunks. So maybe the figure was basically based on Trunks, which kind of stands out. Just here on the end of his kind of like his jacket, you got the cuffs, they kind of stand out, and again we've got the normal type of clenched hands ready to fight. When we look at the back of his hair, it looks quite cool actually. Let's see if we can just focus more on it. It just stands out. I love the shading, I love the color, it works really, really well. But there's not much to the back. We've just got his kind of like where his cape would be, and again it's not as big as Piccolo's, but it does look kind of cool. One thing I do like on his arms, if you can see, it says Capsule Corp there, but nothing there. But just that logo is absolutely stunning. On the back of his cape, it's kind of like padded out, very much like Piccolo's, so it looks ruffled like it's in the wind, ready to fight. And then if we lift up his cape, which is quite easy, we can see very briefly, I don't know if it's too dark, but we can see that they've got the joints I really don't like on the figures, and we've got kind of more kind of like way that there would be kind of, I don't know how to say, kind of like if it was material, if you were moving. The cape moves quite easily up and down, which makes it a lot easier to kind of pose, but it looks absolutely fine. As you know, with all figures, we like to do a stress test, and we got his feet that move in like that. Because this is the first time me actually doing it, it's kind of really, kind of, I don't know, I'd say very hard to move around. So it moves all the way around just like that. Just like that. So it feels really kind of stiff, but it also feels like if you don't get the joint back in the right place, it feels like it will just snap off, which I don't really like. So his legs move like so. Just like that. Oh, and something's fallen off already, which again is not good, seeing as it's one figure. His body moves like that, and then his legs. Very kind of like, you can't move them around, which I thought is a bit odd. And then we got his body there, his hands. Now they get kind of stuck here, so you can move them around like that, but it's very hard. And it's very squeaky, like it feels like it's going to break, which I don't really like. Moves around like so. And his head doesn't go, or does it go all the way around? Yeah, it goes all the way around. Just like that, but it feels like it's just going to pop off. Very, very loose. So one thing, we look at the different heads. Now, he does get like kind of a screaming face, and this isn't too bad of actually popping off. I thought it'd be very tricky, but all you do is just pull it off very easily, very gently, and then you can just move it back. Now, it kind of gives a little bit of life to it, but not as much as I thought it would be. He's looking over here, which I kind of thought he'd be looking straight on at the camera, or rather than just looking off to the side. So that kind of like brings it down a tiny bit, but it's not bad. One thing is, though, that the blemish isn't there, and that is all that matters. I may keep this face on with him, so it's absolutely fine, and I don't have to look at the blemish. I hate the blemish. Why is it even there? So I've changed his head, and to be honest, I really don't like the Super Saiyan head on him. I really like the colour of the Super Saiyan hair, but it just feels like it's completely different. It's like a whole different character, and it feels like it could be someone, I don't know, it just doesn't look like the character after he's gone through a transformation. I love, obviously, the blonde, and you see that there's a little bit of kind of change here, where it's not just like a normal bright yellow, it's kind of got the kind of faded look, which again looks kind of cool. But if we look at his other face that he gets, it's more of a kind of powered up one, and I kind of really wish that you'd get a normal one, where he's just got his mouth closed, very similar to, say, that one. But let's see how easy it is to kind of pull his hair off, because the other one was pretty easy. When actually, like, so I'm going to probably leave this in, when actually connecting it, I felt like his head, as well as this, like, the connecting ball joint, just didn't kind of work well. I've got a feeling that if they re-release this will be a Kaba head. I don't want them to really release Kaba with this one. I want a new sculpt. But yeah, as we can see here, like, he's just got his open mouth, where you can see his like kind of like teeth and his tongue, and it doesn't really give anything to this figure, I kind of think, where this one did. You know, it's the whole screaming, and it actually worked really well. With this one, it just feels kind of like generic to me, and I don't like that whatsoever. So one thing you also get is like this short beam effect. Now I kind of really wish it was longer. Obviously you've got the kind of like the white part, which is more powerful, and then obviously where the beam is being made, and obviously you've got the kind of like long neck-ish thing, which isn't long enough. Now the hands are a bit fidgety, but to me, I don't know what it is about this figure. It just, adding this doesn't make it look any cool. I kind of thought if you added the hands slightly, but not that much, and then obviously you've got like the kind of like the hair, it just, for me, it's not a great figure where I thought it would be, and I'm kind of a little bit disappointed in it. So with my final thoughts on this figure is, it looks okay. It feels like it's made of cheap plastic, which I hate. When obviously we're moving the figure around, it just keeps cracking and making creaking sounds. So that kind of really annoyed me a little bit. This to me was meant to be a really nice figure. Like, I was excited that it was a brand new sculpt. It was different. It looked absolutely awesome. But to be honest, to me, it felt like it was Trunks' body originally, that they've not really changed much. They've just painted it different colors and added something slightly different. But apart from that, I just kind of really wish it would be different. It could be a brand new sculpt. I could be completely wrong thinking it's a Trunks body, but to me, it felt like a Trunks body. That to me was a bit of a letdown. So yeah, that's the main thing on this one. So Rangers, what do you think of the figure? Did you like it? Did you not? Would you get it? Yes or no? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the other videos on the channel. If you want to help support it, then click on the link to Patreon in the description. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.